Welcome back, everybody, to our second episode of UpScale. I want to thank everybody that has listened and supported us on our very first episode.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for everyone joining us again. Just to second that, really, really great feedback on our first one. More so than we had actually expected. And it's fantastic. Literally every platform, I have loads of people messaging me about coming on, and we got some really exciting people lined up, and really, really good. So I just wanted to take the chance to introduce our second guest on our second episode. She's from Dorset, but she's done some amazing things and it has been involved in all sorts of stuff. So it's Rhiannon Duffin.
Hey, it's good to join you guys.
Rhiannon. How's it going?
Yeah, it's good, thank you.
Good. How's Dorset?
It's actually sunny right now, but just literally an hour ago, we had this freakish weather of rain and thunderstorms. I just don't know. We're going through like 5 seasons in a day right now.
I went for a little run in our car park and it's about 37 degrees at the minute in Dubai. So it's quite good because it makes everyone stay in because it's too hot to go out. So this whole isolation is a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's easy for you, where compared to here, as soon as we get a little bit of sunshine, we're like, quick, get outside. Obviously, because of lockdown,
I know.
We literally have only so long, and it's got to be, with exercise as well. But I guess it's an excuse to exercise more, right? Well, at least once a day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
and you're well into your yoga and everything as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Rhiannon's got a Instagram marketing online learning program, and she's a content creator as well. She's got a combined social following of over 130,000 followers, which, is incredible, really. She's got over 15 years on-air experience in presenting QVC, accredited blogger for the British Fashion Council, and all tons of stuff, which I'm sure we'll touch on later. And there's a couple of fun ones, which I'm going to have to pick your brain about, which includes being on Basil Brush as Miss Hippie and a children's entertainer for the Beckhams.
You've done your homework very well.
And Liz Hurley and Jamie Oliver. Apparently the list goes on. So excited to hear about that.
Yeah, boom, boom. It's crazy, really, because I know you guys invite me to speak on here, and where I'm at now, especially with having an Instagram marketing course and helping online businesses with creation and branding. It's insane how our stories get to this place, and I guess I feel like I've gone through generations of different lives from what I've done.
You have done a lot.
Yeah, but it's funny how I think every single thing that I've learned has actually accumulated to this moment right now. And I guess that's how everybody is with their business. It's through experience and what you learn through your life. So hopefully I can guide people along, or, give anybody some kind of advice and interesting facts as well, Yeah. And what not to do, most importantly.
Obviously kind of one of the goals we wanted to do, me and Will, was to inspire people, and it sounds like you've achieved quite a few goals. So it'll be, I think a lot of people will get a great insight and get a lot out of this, hopefully.
No, I love it. And Rhiannon, just touching on social media at the moment, how are you finding or guiding your clients with everything that's going on? I mean, I know there's been a surge of sort of e-commerce and kind of, the rise in people using social media. What have you found sort of changed recently?
I think a lot more people are focusing on their business online, which I think is a good thing. And everyone's having to go into different avenues and learning different ways of expressing their brand and themselves and their business in a whole new way.
Yeah.
At first, when we went into lockdown, I actually offered my Instagram marketing course online for free, and it still is available for free, because I think it's really important to support businesses at the moment, because I know this has been hard times for a lot of people, even myself. So I wanted to give a lot for free and to help. A lot of people have been coming to me and asking, for advice, but also at the same time, I feel weird because I also don't want to be pushing it on everyone at the same time. I don't know if you found the same, Will. It's like, I want to go in and give you all this advice and help you out and kind of knock on people's doors. But at the same time, I'm kind of holding back from what I would normally do, which is being very proactive, because also I feel like I'm going through this weird movement, this weird shift at the moment at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
you
And
know?
you know what? Just touching on that, it's really interesting because things have changed so quickly. And I've got people coming to me like, well, I want to launch this business, or we need to move online. What's your advice? And I've experienced everything real hand exactly the same time, that people kind of turn to you for guidance, and you just have to learn and adapt as quickly as you can and offer the best advice that you can, which, that's our job, isn't it? So
that's so true.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
picking up from that, I've started to go back onto blogging again, because that's something that I used to do in the past, and I've realized by sharing that information, and it saves me a lot of time explaining from A to Z with people, when I can just send them to a link and everything's guided through. And I've done even some video tutorials as well online, just to help that little bit more. Especially on the creation of branding, especially when it comes to social media, it is tricky. And people forget that I've done this from the get-go. I was an influencer before an influencer was a thing. So that's the crazy, it's crazy thinking that, because I just did it because that's what I did. And over the course of 7 years, I've learned how to have a look, how to have, branding, how to apply, say, 30 hashtag. I've learned all these processes and how to do it really quickly, because I've been doing it for a long time, and people expect you can pick something up in seconds, where actually, it's taken years and years of practice.
It has to become like a routine and embedded into every day.
And, I think people want to get there quick as well, but I think it's really important for people to also realize, yes, you want to get out there and you want to, really push it online, but also there's got to be a moment where you've got to trial and error as well. Just like anybody, there's soft launches, and especially when it comes to branding like yourself, Will, you know this with a lot of people, you've got to know your customer, and you've really got to know your brand before you really push and throw it out there. So I also think people should kind of go slowly on it at first. I know there's a feel that you've got to be out and doing it right now, but also I do think you've got to think of the longevity of your brand. And there's the process of throwing it out there,
it's quality instead of quantity sometimes, until you've
Well,
got
gotta
that
know your
kind
core
of bedrock
passions.
structure there.
Exactly that, Will. I think it's, I always go to people's core passions, because I always think of your brand, and you've got to really be connected with your creativity, and that comes from your passion. And it's surprising how a lot of people come to me for, consulting, because they really don't know who they are or who their brand is, which is actually one of the first things people got to know. And it's surprising how much people can put, even myself, when I first started, you throw so much content out there, but actually you realize that content isn't right because it's not connected with who you are or what your brand's ethos is.
Well,
so
there's got to be some sort of funnel, hasn't there? Why am I putting out there? What's the goal? Where do I want people to go? What's the call to action? And, whether it's, I always think of social media as more of a brand building exercise and kind of engaging with your customers. Whereas other forms of advertising are obviously there to convert. But, content creation like you do is so important for every single brand, to show it in situ, tell the story, push what it's all about, and how the product's going to kind of benefit the audience.
Well, that's it. And also lifestyling it as well, making it real. And also, saying the truth behind it. That's one thing I've realized as well. The more truth and honesty and like a heart connection to what I'm saying with my truth, it connects with so many people in so many more ways. And I think that's what's important right now, is we've got to be honest.
And I think transparency is definitely what's winning at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Well, there's just so much to do, isn't there, really? And I think, from the outside, even when people are building their brands, I think from the outside, people don't realize how much thought process goes with it, with the content creation, with the planning, with the strategy behind everything that we're doing, and then the analyzing it afterwards as well. And then it's almost like forgetting all that and then free flowing. So, it's a crazy process, isn't it, really? But I love the whole creative side of things. That's really gets my juices going.
Yeah.
And
No, I
also
love
watching
it.
brands grow as well, like seeing people get their confidence, and seeing brands just get bigger and bigger. It's just, it really gets me buzzed. I think it's cool.
No, same here. I mean, we work with startups and we take them from just a concept or an idea. And then when you start to develop the identity and they start gaining their first customer base and selling their first products, and it slowly builds up. It's really exciting. I think that's what it's all about. And that's why we're kind of in this industry. So with in regards to your course and how you offer people advice and what you've done previously, do you think that that's changed at all in the past couple of months of what advice you'd be offering people? Or do you think the process that people take is always the same?
I think there's certain tactics that will always be the same. I mean, obviously, Instagram changes all the time. I think what's important to me is a work-life balance. I've reached burnout points a lot in the past, and I've realized, as much as I like to help people put content out online, and especially on Instagram, being featured the most, I've realized that it can become quite an obsession. And I've realized over time that people have got to be really careful not to do it for the likes and for the comments.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's all about getting that engagement, and that's how your brand grows. But also, you can't be living for that. And it can become a really vicious circle. And I think that's one thing that now I'm very cautious on when I work with anybody now. It's just like, think about what you're doing here. You don't want to reach a point of burnout and have a love-hate relationship, which I have with social media, and I still, to be honest, do.
Yeah, it's one of those
things that's like, to say, but
it's always there, and you've got to. I think it is. Sometimes I completely get what you mean. Sometimes it's quite frustrating. You think, oh my god,
it is frustrating
for this week, but it's quite satisfying once you have done it. Like,
I know, but it's screwed up. Like if it suddenly, one of my posts will peak and it trends, and then it's obviously gone onto the featured list on Instagram, and then it goes wild, and I get loads of comments. It is a bit of, I have to admit, I do get a high off that. Yeah. But also, I'm really cautious about that, because that's actually really screwed up. That's not why I'm doing it. That's not what it's about. But this form of gratitude.
You just do it for the likes. It's for the likes, Ree.
The likes is a good part.
Oh my god. And somehow that still kind of creeps in. I don't know whether it's to do with my ego. It's just like, god. And then it's just right, then I'll take a week off from Instagram. I just think, right, I've had enough of this.
You need a break.
I need a break.
And then it drags you back in.
Yeah, it does though. Stories, I love hanging. I have to say, I do love hanging out on stories and seeing what people are up to and see how I love watching creatives just capture their day, and that's what I love. Do you know what I mean? And I have to remind myself that actually what I do is from my creative side of things, and I love expressing through pictures, so
Are you watching TikTok a lot at the moment, or are you on TikTok?
No, do you know what? I've actually swerved TikTok because I just think...
Have you?
Stay well away. My girlfriend's got it, and it's just, she goes, Will, look at this one, and it's like two grandmas just doing a dance to something. I'm like, what am I watching? What am I? I've just woken up. I'm trying to have my cup of tea, and I'm just getting videos straight in my face, and just, what are you doing? But it's a remake of Vine, I think. Pretty much.
Yeah, do you know what? I loved Vine back in the day. It was such a comical drive back then. Yeah, and it was fun. But also, I'm really cautious about how much social media time I'm spending, because one thing that's changed with me a lot now is that I'm very grounded. I go out. I'm very much connected with nature. I have a very high spiritual practice now. So I think it's also, yes, good to be online, and you've got to do that. But also at the same time, I believe there's a yin and yang with everyone, and I think it's really important to remember what life is and what it's about.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Can I ask you something? This is something that from a digital marketing side of things, this is something that I get asked all the time. What businesses do you think actually convert best on social media, as in Facebook and Instagram? Because for me, e-commerce sites, for instance, Google AdWords is the best form of advertising. But there are certain brands that really thrive off paid advertising on social.
I think like fashion and beauty thrive so well. even working as an influencer
Yeah.
still myself, I get so much campaigns. Actually, because I'm more of a fashion person, but I get reached out so many times by beauty brands because it's so easy to do a quick demo at a before and after, especially with, you know, outfit posts as well. That's on my side, but maybe that's because of what I'm used to doing, that I maybe see it a lot more. But I find
it's much more visual though, isn't it?
It is visual, and you know, Reward Star really helped that as well, and really lifted it back in the day when you could do the affiliate links, and obviously affiliate linking as well from stories to make money and commissions do so well. You know, and I know a lot of my friends who are huge bloggers now and huge influencers are making a heck of a lot of money because of just affiliates. You know, just from that swipe up.
So
It's just mad.
Interesting.
Just touching on the influencer side of things. I know you've acted as an influencer for a long time, and you've done paid advertising, and that's worked really well for you as a side of the business. You get a lot of people that are just starting out, if they're students or they've got fashion brands. How did you start to become an influencer? I know you said it was always kind of there for you and it was a natural progression, but if someone wanted to start as an influencer, what advice would you give them?
First off, do something that you love, because if you're not passionate about it, you will have no longevity. It will, you know, you won't have that drive.
And you need to be consistent as well.
Completely. Yeah. You can't just throw an occasional post and then that's it. Exactly that. You've got to really be consistent. You've got to be willing to let people in. And I think that's one thing a lot of influencers or starting up with influencing, because I've worked with a lot of presenters that then decided to go more into the influencer side of things. And what they've realized is that you've really got to put yourself out there, which can be hard, especially on stories, you know, talking to the camera, having that constant dialogue. So you've got to be open to letting people in. But you've got to love what you're doing and then focus and try and think of what your brand is. Basically, your brand is who you are, but you've got to be really
brand.
Exactly. And I think that's where a lot of people miss that they are themselves are a personal brand, and they need to know what their message is, who they're targeting, and really think about the content that they're putting out, which I think gets completely waysided sometimes.
I think once you've nailed your personal brand, it really comes together.
Well, it's just knowing who you, but that comes from just knowing who you are as a person, you know, your personal taste, your personal style, products you love. Like, don't get me wrong, when I first started out, I was working with some brands that really was not suited, and it used to make me cringe when I would post, and I just thought, why am I putting myself through this? Like, what am I doing?
Promoting beard oil or something like that.
It's just like, oh, it's so shameful, you know?
Swipe up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, it's so it. But then this is the thing. I don't do any collaborations on my stories, and a lot of brands find that really odd.
Right.
So because I started to get bored of watching other influencers like swipe up for this, swipe up for that, swipe up. I'm just like, do you know what? I'm done with this. You're overselling to me right now, and it's boring me. It was funny because when I worked with the ASA, which is the Advertising Standards Authority, so they're the guys that threw in ads onto what we have to post and make it clear that people are being advertised to on Instagram.
Okay.
And when I was working with them, it was funny because they brought out new regulations about 3 years ago, and a lot of my influencer friends reached out and we were chatting about, you know, you've got to put ad at the beginning and it's got to be really clear. And that's not just for a paid campaign, it's also for a gifted product as well. And then a lot of my friends were like, well, that means everything's an ad. So it's just like,
at least people know. Yeah, I think that, you know, in the past when you've got certain celebrities or whatever saying, oh, I love this face cream, it's fantastic, when actually it's not. And I think a lot of people would buy it just because of who's promoting it. So I think having that transparency, in my eyes, I think is good. You know what you're seeing and you know why it's there.
And now, to be honest, I skim through ad anyway. It doesn't bother me if I see it on a post. But also, you know, at the same time, it makes you consider what you are going to accept. Do you want to put everything out there as an ad, or do you actually want to throw something into the mix that's more creative? That's one thing that I've been struggling with recently, and I spoke about it when I did Jeremy Vine not that long ago on the panel there. It's like, so if you're going to throw a post out and I've realized over time that when my face is in a picture, I get more interaction, more comments, more likes. And, you shouldn't have to be
more personal.
Yeah, well, this is it, because you're bringing people in more because they see you, right? Which is a good thing. And I'm not on about chasing the likes. I'm on about the fact that obviously I've got to, if I'm working as an influencer, keep my engagement high, because otherwise, brands won't want to collaborate with me and I won't get paid as much unless my engagement is kept high. So you would purposely, make sure at all times your engagement is at a certain level. But then it's like, but actually, I want to post something that doesn't have my face in it, This is what I was talking about
share
earlier.
Something else,
yeah, exactly. I do want to just post a picture of the sea, or something else.
Do other things.
Exactly.
Rhiannon, do you have like you're a personal page as well as your business one, or just? Or oh no, sorry, you do. You've got Rhiannon Duffin, and then you've got New Life Social, and I presume New Life Social is your influencer account, your main one.
So no, it's actually the other way around, because what I've realized now is that I don't give a anymore, because I'm now going to just do things my way, even though yes, there's still a lot of people for me, but I'm going to post other bits out too, because do you know what? At the end of the day, I can't just live for those collaborations and those likes. It's kind of like having a creative process for myself now, and post when the heck I want to, that's where
they've changed the algorithms anyway, like, so it isn't purely done on a time basis or how much content that you're posting out and that sort of thing. So what would you say is your main sort of goal going forward, or what have you got planned sort of for the future?
I love helping entrepreneurs, reach their goals. So I want to really focus on that, especially with the creative process and watching the brands grow. So it's just like, with the branding and then helping people capturing it on Instagram, especially, through their feed and through their stories as well. But also have a team of mini Rees. I like New Life Social to get bigger, And also I want to throw in more of my spiritual journey as well, because New Life Social, there's the social side, but there's also the new life as well. So bit by bit, I'm drip feeding.
I love the blog section. It's really interesting.
Yeah, because I think we all have so much depth, and I've realized that, on a superficial level, I like to wear, certain clothes or have a designer handbag, but also there's a deepness to me, and I want to help people, especially with well-being and mental health, because I've struggled with that in the past myself, practices that I can have every day, be it breath work, meditation, getting out into nature. So I think there's a bigger conversation that we can all be having.
I love that. Definitely. And would you say, is there a certain type of clientele that you aim to work with that kind of resonates with your values?
Yeah, I'd love to be working more with well-being. At the moment, it's been very much fashion and beauty. Like, I'm really lucky to have worked with Dior and Clarins,
I saw that.
Minerals, Azuni London, Claudia Bradley, QVC. Yeah, great clients. And I'm very blessed to have that. Like, it's insane, right? I don't know, off a bit, let me go off track.
And help people. Let's help the smaller kind of clients and the people starting out.
Yeah, completely. And definitely more down the well-being route as well, because I just find it so inspiring and really interesting. So and
you're always learning something. I think same with what me and Dan do. I mean, Dan's obviously a graphic designer. We do branding, web design, and that sort of thing. And we all three of us just work with completely different clients, but you're always learning new things about them and experience different journeys that they're kind of on. So we're very lucky to be in this sort of industry, I think.
Creatives, I think it's also important to support each other as well, because we all have a different opinion, or we can see things differently, 100%. And we can all help each other. And that's what I love. Like, everybody has their own opinion, that everyone's had their own journey, so we can all bring something new to the table, which I think is great.
Now, I've got to
Yeah.
ask. I know we touched on it briefly at the beginning. There are some fun facts that I've got about you, Rhi.
We did like the look of them.
Which one do we want to start with? Shall I just go in chronological order?
I was hoping I didn't miss them because I did cut out for a little bit, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to miss the fun facts.
The random facts. I call it
But I
hashtag
didn't.
my
The
random
random.
life.
I'm gonna
I
start.
know.
I'm gonna start with. Which I'm going to start with.
Right at the beginning? Right.
Yeah, I'll start at the beginning. All right, Dan, calm down. I will start with Miss Hippie on the Basil Brush TV show. Boom, boom.
Yeah. Boom, boom. So I actually said boom, boom. I have to try and find the video clip on YouTube so I can send it to you, Will, because you will find it hysterical.
Honestly, I watched it as a kid. I must have seen you on there.
Yeah, it's so basically when I was born in Wales, grew up in Poole and Dorset, and when I reached the age of 17, I went straight up to London and went to drama school. So I did like musical theatre, and when I left, I was working as an actress and working on musical theatre as well, shows. And one of my jobs was the Basil Brush show. So basically I can remember the casting. So they literally had Basil Brush there, and all I did was just hyped up Basil like completely. And I obviously got the job as Miss Hippie. I also dressed up as a hippie as well. The crazy thing is I got to say boom boom with Basil Brush. But yeah, I was Miss Hippie. I was Basil Brush's girlfriend from back in the 60s.
That's fantastic. It's just funny to have it on your kind of list of achievements, and I think it's such a conversation starter.
I just think you've just got to be honest. There was moments where I just wanted to hide my past, and bit by bit my friends learned more about me and they find it epic. Just like when you opened it about being a children's entertainer, that was my way of supporting myself as a failing actress.
Yeah,
and like I can balloon model.
Because...
So I learnt with street performing artists, and yeah, I just got to learn magic and balloon modeling. And I worked for some of the top entertainment companies in London, and I was blessed enough to have some crazy clients.
Yeah, I've got a list of them here, and I know one of them included the Beckhams. I mean, tell me about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, they just booked through. It was just crazy parties for them. I can remember doing Claudia Schiffer and Liz Hurley were all together once as well. I even did a ballet party for, oh my God, Darcy Bustle's daughter. Like it gets crazy. Jamie Oliver, I did loads of parties for him. It was just, it's mad really, but I just always went into this crazy performer mode, and we would always be dressed up. So I'd either be a princess or a fairy, or I'd be a wicked witch, which were my favorite. The evil characters were the best because I'd just be nasty to the kids and they loved it.
Brilliant,
so
brilliant. Yeah. But I think would you say all of these strange little just things that you've experienced, it all kind of feeds into what you've done now, which what you were talking about at the beginning. And I think it's what, like you said, you don't hide anything. It builds your character, and it really creates a story for yourself and how to deal with different types of clients and situations. So
oh my God, I always had to think on my head, and especially as you know with kids, they're so demanding. So it really kept you on the toes. So all these kind of attributes really worked for me, and also being used to performing really helped as well.
We kind of tailor towards entrepreneurs, creatives, designers, people starting their own businesses. Anyone that's taking this time during lockdown to maybe start a new company and they're trying to market themselves and build a brand, what would your advice be?
That's a good one. So I would 100% do your research. I think it's really important to get creative. If you're in this industry, you must be some kind of creative drive there. Be prepared to take risks and get out there. I think the most important thing is get out there and be seen and heard, because the more you put yourself out there, the more people will have conversations with you and the more that you learn. So I think there's a really good way of, growing and learning by being there with a community of other creatives. And luckily in this day and age, it's so easy to do that. And I think it's important to have a work-life balance as well, so you don't reach that burnout, and that will stem for your longevity as a business owner.
Yeah, Oh, I love that. No, I think that's fantastic advice. Brilliant. Dan, have you got anything else that you'd like to ask Riri before we sort of conclude this episode 2?
With you last week, we did the quick fire questions. Maybe we do an extra quick fire.
Yeah, go on, let's do it.
What book are you reading at the minute, or would you recommend reading?
Yeah, so I am just making my way through The Magic at the moment. So that's following from The Secret. So it just gets you to do like a gratitude journal every day. And I have to admit, it's been really helping with the lockdown situation right now. Yeah, so that is definitely like massive recommendation that anyone can pick that up, because I mean we've got the time to do the work right now, so why not?
And what's your lockdown TV series addiction at the moment?
Oh my god, have you watched Schitt's Creek on Netflix?
No, is that Netflix?
It's
no.
Are we saying Shit Creek or Ship's Creek?
Schitt's Creek.
Okay.
So seriously, it's so good. I mean, give the first couple of episodes a go and then it will flow. It is just hysterical. Yeah,
get through that. Okay, awesome. Well, are you still on Breaking Bad?
Yeah, when I'm allowed to. I'm only allowed to watch one episode a day, so it's a slow burner.
You've been cut down.
I have. I'm down to one quota, and then it's
one a day, just to make it last.
That's all I'm allowed.
Oh my god, but that's good though if there's one a day. Otherwise, you do just go too crazy. I did that with Afterlife. I just started watching.
Yeah,
I watched it for 2 days and realised I watched them all. I was like, what?
Oh, cool. And you've I'll keep you just short. I did ask Will last week what's his go-to order as his favourite hometown restaurant. How long have you lived in Dorset for?
So I moved back down about 6 years ago now, but I've got this mad thing about I don't know if you know there's a place called Miko basically in Ashley Cross. So it's like a vegan and gluten-free restaurant, and it's so good. And their smoothie bowls and peanut butter and banana on sourdough bread is like insane.
Oh,
and also I love this place called Dragonfly as well. Yeah. I love that. Fusion food. Oh my god, it's just like insanely good. Anything for a Californian roll is just the best. So yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, once we move back to the UK in the summer, and obviously we're going to be based in Bournemouth a lot more, so I can't wait to check these out. I'll do a shout out actually, because my cousin and my uncle, they run a pub in Ashley Cross called the Butcher's Dog. I don't know if you've come across that.
I have never heard of that.
Yeah, I go there all the time. It's one of my locals.
Do you? Oh, awesome.
That's so cool. I'll have to check that out.
It's on Park Street in Ashley Cross.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Opposite the Bermuda Triangle,
BT.
I think. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Next door to the Go.
Yeah.
Or next door but one but the Go. My local coffee shop.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're doing many shout outs here, right?
Awesome. Well, cool. We'll check those out. And kind of, I guess the last one, what do you wish you had known when you started out, and just any more advice you would like to give out?
Oh my god. What do I know? That everything will be okay. Just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just take risks.
Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it. Perfect. Well,
I think that's the end of our quick fire questions round. I think I've learned loads today, and it's been really, really interesting hearing your story. I mean, if any of our listeners,
I can't wait to listen.
Yeah, if any of our listeners have got any questions for Rhiannon, then obviously feel free to reach out to her on social. Will give awesome advice on anything that you want to know. Content creation and social media. She is your perfect person to go to.
We'll put some links up as well.
Yeah, we'll post them onto the podcast so that you guys can go on there. So we've got New Life Social, her personal account, Rhiannon Duffin, and her web address, and you can see what she's up to and her previous work and all sorts of things. The blog's a really great source of content too. So I just want to take the chance. Thank you, Rhiannon, for coming on, and
thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Meet up when you're back. Woo.
Yes.
100%.
Oh my god, I'm dreaming about those days.
No,
all right,
thank you
guys.
so much, and thank you everyone for listening, and we will be back with
See you in
very
episode 3.
soon.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.